My dad wasn't the sentimental type. He was quiet, meticulous, and carried the kind of silence that filled a room more than any words could. A retired history professor, he spent most of his time buried in books, scribbling in journals I was never allowed to read. When he got sick, he didn't complain. When he knew he was dying, he didn't cry. He just looked at me one final time and said, "Check the clock in the study." That was it. Then he was gone. At first, I thought maybe grief was messing with me. A clock. In the study. He had dozens. Pocket watches, antique wall clocks, even a broken cuckoo one that hadn't worked since I was 12. But I knew my dad. He never said anything without meaning. So after the funeral, when the house was too quiet and the sympathy calls stopped coming, I went to the study. Dust floated through the late afternoon sun. The room smelled like old wood and paper. I scanned every clock. Ticking, not ticking. Small, large. Until I saw it. The tall grandfather clock in the corner. It never worked. Just sat there like part of the furniture. But something was off. When I pressed my hand against the side, I felt a faint click. Like a latch. I tugged. Nothing. Then I remembered. My dad always kept an old brass key on his bookshelf. I never knew what it opened. I grabbed it, slid it into a nearly invisible hole on the clock's right side. It fit. The panel creaked open. Behind it, a narrow passage. Dark, musty, lined with stone. I hesitated, then grabbed a flashlight and stepped inside. The air grew colder, the silence thicker. I counted each step like it might be the last. Then the corridor opened into a room I never knew existed. The walls were lined with shelves, filled with books, maps, and binders. On the desk sat a worn leather notebook, my dad's handwriting. Inside were pages upon pages of notes. About me, about our family, about secrets. Apparently, my dad had spent the last 20 years tracking something. He called it the Ellis Line, a hidden history of our bloodline dating back to the 1700s. Pirates, smugglers, codes, a missing ledger. One passage stopped me cold. If anything happens to me, Alex needs to find it. It's in the room, but he'll only know where once he's ready. What did that mean? I searched every drawer, shelf, and page. Then I saw it. A framed picture of my grandfather, but it was crooked. I took it down. Behind it, a small panel. Inside, a velvet pouch. And inside the pouch, a brass compass. Old, heavy worn. But here's the thing, it didn't point north. The compass needle spun wildly, then locked in a direction, toward the far wall. I followed it, tapped the wall. Hollow. I pressed my hand there, and the stone shifted. Another click. Another door. Behind it, a safe. Combination locked. My heart sank. I had no clue what the combination could be. Then I remembered something odd from the funeral. My dad's friend, an old colleague, had shaken my hand and whispered, "Remember 1952. He always said that was the beginning. I entered 1-9-5-2. Click. The safe swung open. Inside wasn't money, or gold, or anything I expected. Just a single object. A black envelope. Inside the envelope, a deed. Handwritten. Stamped. Old. It was for a small piece of land in Havre de Grace, Maryland. It was in my name, and dated back to 1792. There was also a map, drawn by hand, showing something buried. I didn't sleep that night. 2 days later, I drove to Maryland. It took hours to find the spot. It wasn't marked, just an overgrown patch near a creek surrounded by trees. I dug for hours, blisters on my hands, sweat and dirt mixed in my eyes. And then, the sound of metal. I had hit something. A chest. Inside, documents. Dozens of them. Letters. Maps. A journal. From a man named Samuel Ellis, my ancestor. It detailed a secret trading route. Smuggling during the Revolution. Names of men who changed identities. Hidden wealth. False graves. This wasn't just family history. This was a buried past that could change historical records. Now I sit here, surrounded by papers older than the nation itself. I've been offered money by collectors. Even government historians have reached out. But part of me wonders, why didn't my dad publish any of this? Why keep it hidden? Maybe some truths are too dangerous. Maybe he wanted me to decide what to do with it. His last words led me to a hidden room, but it's what I found there that changed everything. So I ask you, was this real? Or just the final lesson of a man who never stopped teaching? Real or fiction?